Hi guys, welcome to Tat Talks, the episode where Tanvi and Donna talk about weird, random, funny, interesting things that we thought about that week.
Do TED Talks. Do TED Talks.
So on today's episode, we're going to be talking about The Office versus Friends.
Okay, since we both watched the show, let's just start talking. Let's talk about Friends because that's the one. At least I watched first. I don't know about you. Did you watch? I don't know which one.
I watched The Office first, but I'm still pretty familiar with Friends, I think.
Okay, because I've watched Friends like 3 times. So yeah, but I watched Friends recently, so I'm kind of familiar with both. I remember like a lot of things from both episodes or from both series. So yeah, let's start off by comparing the two and like which one I guess we like or which one we like better or whatever. So let's do that.
Yeah, so in my opinion, I think The Office is like 10 times better. I understand like there are different types of comedy. Like you can't compare the two. I think Friends is very just like straight up jokes and comedy and things like that. And The Office is kind of like an acquired taste.
Yeah.
I like the style of comedy that The Office has much better than Friends.
Okay, so I started watching Friends because I wasn't under like a lot of people would like quote and like do that like a couple years ago, and I was just like, what? And everyone's like, oh my god, you haven't watched Friends? And I'm like, no, I haven't. So then I started watching that. Like I think it was 2 years ago, and I just like binge watched it in like 3-4 days. And I genuinely really enjoyed it. And Office, I just watched because I know it's one of your favorite like sitcoms or shows. And then I got this like thing on my recommended where like every time John Krasinski breaks character or whatever. So I found that funny. So then I was like, you know what, might as well just start watching it. And I watched it. And it was like I was really invested in it, and I like also finished it in like 3-4 days. So that was good. But yeah, honestly, I genuinely don't think you can compare the two because they're so different. Like the comedy, like I guess the sense of humor is very different in both. For me, what I felt like when I was watching the two, so like Friends is just like it's situational comedy. So Friends, I just felt like it was just like a normal kind of like everyday kind of life comedy issues, I guess. And I felt like it was just straight up like funny, like just jokes. Whereas Office, like I personally found the first season very funny, and like the first couple seasons just hilarious. And then I think after that, it was just you were just really invested in the storyline. Like you not for 1 minute you don't want to know what happens next, or you're not invested in all of the characters. So I think after a couple seasons, it's just um like a burst of laughter, and then just like no laughter and like for beats and stuff. I don't know if that makes sense, but like I felt like the Friends was just more constant laughter in all the episodes of the seasons. For Friends, I felt like the first couple seasons were kind of slow, in my opinion. I did not. I liked the latter seasons better than the first couple, which is opposite of the Friends or The Office, I guess. So
yeah, for me, like since Friends has like a laugh track, I don't know why. Like obviously it had its moments. I did honestly laugh at some parts, but for the most part, I would say like I didn't find the show that funny. And like some of the jokes too, it was I don't know, I just found them kind of dumb. And I understand like at the time that the show was released, like 94 onwards, in that time like those kind of things were funny. But watching it now with my current sense of humor, which is like pretty sarcastic and like just very strange,
yeah.
I didn't think it was that funny. Like, oh my God, the one episode where Joey tries to learn French, I was losing my mind. I couldn't even watch the full thing because I was just cringing so badly.
I love that episode.
Really?
Funny. He was just like, oof, oof, oof. I loved that. Like, also, we kind of have very similar, like, sense of humor. But I found that episode so funny. I love that episode. That's one of my, like, favorite episodes.
I can't even think of like my favorite episode of Friends. It's probably because I watched it like 2 years ago, but I can't even think of any like memorable moments in that show.
The one where Joey tries to speak French. I also like the one with Unagi. I think that one is a very funny one. Where Ross like does the Unagi thing. And also the pivot one was so funny the first time I watched it. It kind of loses its like charm after like you watch it the first time because you just don't expect it the first time. But I don't know, I still find it like funny. I really liked the one where he spoke French.
Talked about like kind of the episodes and stuff we like in Friends. What about The Office? Were there any like super memorable, like funny moments that you just loved?
Of the dinner party episode. I think I recently rewatched it too. The dinner party one was my like favorite. I lost my mind when Michael pulled up the plasma screen TV and it only moved this much. I lost it. I felt like I couldn't even imagine how hard it was for them to film that, like just film that episode or film the entire show because just like the writing was just so funny. And it's like in comparison to Friends where there was like more acting per se required, like it was more like you have to move your body and like your body does some of the like the comic timing or the comedy. Like Ross was like I guess funny just because of his expressions, you know. Otherwise Ross wasn't really like on paper he wasn't that like lovable of a character per se, but what David Schwimmer did for him made it funny. Like some of the stuff that he said and the way he said it, that's what made him funny.
Yeah.
Office, the straight up, it was just the writing. It was just the straight up jokes, the sarcastic humor. I don't know how they filmed it because I would have lost my mind trying to be like just stone like cold facing the camera and everything. So yeah.
With The Office, like the humor is so like subtle, but it's delivered so well. It's I don't know how they do it. It's just so funny. And that's like my sense of humor now. Even like when I make jokes and like talk in everyday conversation, that's kind of I think a lot of my personality is like from The Office because I've watched the show like 3 times. And I don't know, like sometimes when I'm just like talking or like when someone's talking to me and I'm just like uninterested or like I'll just like pretend to look at a camera like Jim. I'll just like, look at it and I'll be like,
I did that even before I watched The Office. I would just, and then you pointed it out that I sometimes do that, like in meetings or stuff or whatever. What was your favorite episode for The Office?
yeah, again, like I don't remember the episode names or anything, but there's just so many like tiny moments. Okay, like in the first season, like the Diversity Day episode, I don't know why I just found it so funny every time I watched it. But like when they had like the cards on their forehead for like different like races or ethnicities or whatever, and Kevin was Italian, and then and then Michael was like, man, I'm hungry. We should have got some food. And then Kevin is like, maybe some spaghetti. I don't know why. I found that so funny. That was like the first time I genuinely laughed so hard while watching that show. But yeah, there's so many other moments, like the dinner party, just like fire alarm.
Oh my God, I forgot about. I didn't even laugh. I was just shocked that that was happening.
I also really like the episode where like Michael was, I don't remember what exactly it was, but when Michael was trying to like jump off the building and they were trying to like talk him down.
And then they dropped the watermelon and then they all saw the bouncy house.
Yeah, I really liked that one.
Well, I'm trying to think like what other favorite. Honestly, Dwight was just an icon. I like loved like it takes like a while to like warm up to Dwight, but it was just some of the stuff he did was just so funny. Like straight up.
Yeah, when I first watched the show, like the first few seasons, I don't know, like Dwight, he's kind of like kissing up to Michael a lot as the assistant to the regional manager. And so I was just like kind of like, oh, he's kind of like annoying, whatever. But honestly, like you completely get used to him and he just becomes like your favorite character.
Yeah, like it took me a couple seasons. It took me the first season to like see the first season I think was really bold. And it was like right off the bat, like straight like stuff like that. If you did now, it would not work. People just would not allow that at all. So because of that, like time it released in like 2000, I think 5 it was. The first episode was still bold, I guess, but I found it so funny. Like a lot of people don't find the first season funny. I found it hilarious, but I also simultaneously did not like the characters. Like I did not like Michael in the first season. I don't know, like because of that. I stand Phyllis throughout the whole series. I loved Phyllis. I just loved Phyllis. But yeah, after like the second season, I think the character arcs, like you get to understand Michael, you get to understand Dwight, and you get to understand where all of them were coming from. That's why like you just grow to love them and appreciate their character. Yeah, like in the first season, I also quite liked Pam. Like Pam, I liked for the first couple seasons. Like I understand like Jim is so like lovable and blah blah blah. I kind of found him like I don't know. Sometimes I found him annoying because I felt like he thought he was better than everyone. So I don't know. I like rooting for the underdogs.
I really liked Michael's growth because like the first season, like just the stuff that like the jokes that was written for him, it was just really like kind of controversial and just ooh, like why would you say that? And you kind of like wanted to hate him for it, but like he actually changes so much as a person, and you can tell like he still has like some of like the old Michael left in him, but he's still trying to improve. And I think one episode that that kind of shows that for me that I remember is when the photo of Jan in the Bahamas, it got leaked or something, and then she and Michael went to the like head office to kind of have like a briefing with like the legal team. But she was kind of like telling Michael, oh yeah, like talk about how like firing me for the picture is like a breach of justice, or like it's not like it's inequality or something like that. And during the legal meeting, Michael was trying so hard to be like respectful to Jan and everything, but at the same time he was talking like in such like a vulgar manner about her. It was funny. He was trying so hard, but like he just couldn't help just go back to his like old ways and just talk like that. And I love that about him because he always kind of stayed true to who he was.
Also, oh my god, this was my favorite like thing of Dwight. You know when he had to pick a healthcare plan, some of the some of the people like wrote their own diseases and everything, and then one of them was like hot dog something. I lost it. Some of them had like the funniest diseases, and he was just straight up reading them out. And then it was like I think it was anal fissures or something. And Kevin had to raise his hand for that. That was yeah. I really like. I don't know. I think that is my favorite scene of Dwight.
In terms of characters that you didn't like, who were your main characters in The Office, and also who are your main characters in Friends? Because I feel like we haven't talked about that enough.
I don't know about main character, but I could not stand Robert California. I hated his voice. I don't know why. Like, also again, I thought he just thought he said was like better than everyone. That's why again I really did not like him. He just felt like he thought himself as being very, even though I guess he was the CEO or whatever, that girl, that hilly dilly girl made him the CEO. I forgot her name. But I kind of liked her character. But yeah, Robert California, just did not like. I'm so glad they kind of took him away after a couple like episodes. I felt like they kept him there for too long, in my opinion. But every time he would talk, it was just zone out. He was just like say some stupid things in that hoarse, nasty voice of his.
I think he was written.
Felt very uncomfortable while he was talking. Like I just felt very uncomfortable.
I think he was like written to be hated. Like they wrote his character so that people would hate him, because he kind of like came in as the new boss and like took over like Michael's position. And I think like no one they didn't want people to like him.
At some points, Oscar got a little annoying, but I think that's just how his, like he was also the know-it-all, you know, and he knew that. So like there's a trend to my hatred of the characters, but that's just who he was, and he like he acknowledged that, so it's fine. At least he was self-aware.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that was it for The Office. For Friends, I really did not like Ross and Rachel's like thing. I liked Rachel after like the first couple season. After that, I liked her. The first season, her voice was just like, oh my god, Ross, like, hello, Ross, I love you. Like I just hated her voice in the first.
Breathy and like light. I don't know. I don't like it either.
Yeah. I don't like breathy voices. I don't know why. I just don't. So that's why I did not like. I like when I first watched Friends though, I was like mesmerized by Jennifer Aniston though. I would like to point that out. I really did not enjoy that. See, Ross was like a funny character because of how David Schwimmer portrayed him. But I don't know. I just didn't like Ross's character when he was with Rachel, because I felt like they were just toxic. Like I don't know. Like Ross was always just like, oh, like you're working too much. You don't have time for me. And like, who's that Mark guy or whatever? Like, sweetie. Like she finally got a job. Like she moved to New York. She wanted to like earn money for herself and sustain herself. And she finally got like a good job, I think at Bloomberg's or whatever. So like she finally has some responsibility. She finally has a good job that she likes and enjoys, like fashion or whatever. And he was just trying to be like, oh, you don't have time for me. Like, oh my God, why is your 24/7 hour attention not on me? And I don't know. I just found that kind of toxic. And then he was like, oh, we're on a break. And then he went and cheated with that other girl. And the audacity, he didn't tell her and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, their relationship was pretty, like, I didn't really care for it.
Yeah.
But
I feel like this is an unpopular opinion because I think everyone loves Ross and Rachel's relationship. But honestly, like y'all should stand Monica and Chandler's relationship. Like they were just so like not like non-toxic, stable, just like I would say they were mostly a perfect relationship. Cause like they obviously they were friends first and then it happened by accident or whatever. But then they were just there for each other no matter what. Like she supported him when he had to move to like Tulsa or whatever it was. And then like when she couldn't have a baby and he was so supportive and everything. So I don't know. I loved their relationship way, way, way more. Because I felt like it was more realistic because they were just like good friends and then just a good relationship in general.
yeah, I agree with that. Like, I didn't like Ross and Rachel. I honestly found all of the characters annoying except for Chandler. But also because I just wasn't as emotionally invested in Friends. I think it's because of the laugh track and just because I just didn't find some of the jokes funny. But in comparison to like Friends, which I wasn't as invested in, I just kind of watched it so that I'm like in the loop. Compared to that, The Office, oh my God, I was so invested in that. I loved Jim and Pam. Sometimes if I'm like depressed or something, I'll search up like Jim and Pam episodes and I'll just watch those.
Jim and Pam also, again, like Monica and Chandler, they were just like a realistic, stable relationship, you know? And they kind of showed like the good and bad sides of the relationship. Like for like at the end, you know, where okay, by the way, everyone, there's gonna be spoilers. So.
Oops, we're too late, but spoiler alert.
But by the end of it, like obviously like Jim was trying to start his own company. What was the company's name? Athlete, I think Athlete. Yeah. So by like he was trying to focus on Athlete or whatever, and then Pam had 2 kids, and like I can imagine. I mean I can't imagine, but like I would fathom it would be very crazy with 2 children that are like that little. So yeah, there was like I don't know, like that's a realistic problem that would arise with like actual couples in their like 20s or not 20s, like third maybe 20s. I don't know. You do you. 20s, 30s, whatever. Like that's a realistic problem. Like what Monica and Chandler faced, realistic issues. I don't know. I just found like Ross and Rachel just too over the top.
Yeah, I agree. Like for Jim and Pam, I just genuinely liked them. Like it was cute. It was just nice to watch them. I liked their like togetherness presence on screen. Like obviously like they each had their moments. Like I honestly found Pam kind of annoying when Jim wanted to go to like Philadelphia and do all the athlete stuff and Pam was like, "No, I kind of want to like stay here and like have a little family and stuff." I'm like, "Okay, well, he wants to like start a company and like do big things, like just let him try it out." I don't know, that's just what I kind of felt
You
during
know what? Pam should have adjusted and compromised. No, but I also understood where she's coming from and everything. But honestly, I think both of them needed to be a little supportive, or not supportive. I don't think supportive because I think both of them were very supportive. They just stopped communicating like Jim and Pam used to, you know? Jim and Pam used to tell each other everything. And I think that was like their strong point of their, like, they were just so cute, just in general. Like you would be always rooting for them. And they weren't even like cute as in they were just like, oh, like lovey-dovey all the time. It was cute because they both had a sense of humor. They both understood each other, and it was, I think, like that's like the perfect kind of relationship in my opinion. It's when like both of them are on the same page, sense of humor wise, and just like just in general, you know, it's not like there's no bullshit.
just like understand each other.
There's no, what's another word for bullshit?
Drama.
There's no crap. No poop. We should just put this in just to see what like stuff like there's not touchy. Yeah, like that's how it should be. There's no like crap, I guess. It's just like straight up, it is what it is, you know. And same with Monica and Chandler. They were also like, it is what it is. Oh, and let's talk about like both of their proposals. I thought they were both so cute and so romantic. Um, I'm kind of like glad that like, because you know how like I don't know whose party it was, but like Jim paid Phyllis extra for like that Ferris wheel and all that, and then like Jim was gonna propose and everything, and then even Pam thought they were gonna propose, or he was gonna propose, and then it didn't happen because Andy did it first. I don't know. I felt like uh it was a good thing it didn't happen because that's not what their relationship was about. Like what happened at the gas station, like that sums up Jim and Pam. Like that has their vibe all over it. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Because they're kind of like go with the flow. They're not like over the top and like super flashy anyways. Like they're very like just down to earth, humble, good people. So like I thought the gas station one was so perfect because it was just kind of like a spur of the moment. Like neither of them just expected it. He was just like, okay, yeah, I'll meet you at the gas station. And then he decides to propose.
No, it's, I mean, he planned it, but still, like,
Planned it, but still, it was more like, it was just more spontaneous.
yeah.
Still like that.
Yeah, even like that's also why I enjoyed Monica and Chandler's proposal too, because they have this whole thing with Tom Selleck. Oh my god, I forgot his name. No.
Oh, I don't know the character's name, but yeah, Tom Selleck.
Tom Selleck. Okay, so there was this thing because like he was dating Monica first, and he came back, and then I think Chandler was like freaking out because of like his commitment issues and everything. And I just found it so cute where like they went to go talk, and then after Monica came back, like Chandler was ready with the candles and like he proposed and everything. I thought that was such a cute proposal and a cute moment. Because like it just showed like how much Chandler like loves her, and it was also like very cute in general because like the friends, all of them were helping him and everything, and it was just perfect in my opinion.
Yeah, no matter like how cute Monica and Chandler are, I still think the wedding in the office was like just top notch. Nothing can top that.
Yeah. If we're talking about weddings, we have to talk about Ross's weddings. Oh my God. I lost my mind because when I first watched it, I did not know he was gonna say Rachel. So I was so shook when I first watched it, and I was like, "Oh my God, it's just going down." And also, again, I did not like Emily because she also had a Ross. Oh my God, how can you do that to me? Like she also had a very breathy voice, and I also hated that. So yeah, I was not a fan
Of Rose.
I wasn't a fan of Emily. Okay, let's talk about like tracks in like the Friends or The Office that we did not enjoy. Like just yeah. The track I really did not like was Joey and Rachel. I felt that that was kind of like unnecessary. It kind of made me feel weird because I just no, like Joey and Rachel, they're just like I feel like they're just too good of friends to like be in a relationship. And I don't know, I didn't like that whole like relationship angle for them.
Just did it for the sake of like having it.
uh, I would have rather enjoyed Joey and Phoebe because I feel like Joey and Phoebe just had immaculate sexual tension and immaculate like chemistry, especially in the first season. Because like Joey was with like Ursula or whatever, and then like Phoebe says no or whatever, and then they have that kiss. I felt like their chemistry was just better, but I also liked Phoebe's chemistry with Mark Ruffalo. No, that's the Hulk. Who's Ant-Man?
Paul Rudd?
Paul Rudd. Yes, Paul Rudd. Not Mark Ruffalo. Like the whole scene with like Andy going off to the boat or whatever, that whole like track and like the interns and everything, I personally did not enjoy. I found that kind of irrelevant, but also again, it was Michael had left, so they didn't know what to fill in there. So I guess I understood why they were doing it, but yeah, that wasn't my favorite track, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. Like after Michael left, there was just a lot of unnecessary like
Yeah.
relationships, unnecessary like filler kind of things
Mhm.
that I didn't really care for. But pre or like when Michael was still there, those were the best seasons. And
Yeah.
I honestly don't have that many complaints.
I quite enjoyed like the intern, what was his name, Ryan's character arc. Like you would just not have imagined at all when you started watching the series that that's where Ryan would end up. And it was just so funny. I love how he wrote that for himself. He just normal 2 seasons. He was like normal intern or whatever, burnt down the office like for pizza. I don't know what it was for. And then just like gets promoted to the CEO or whatever, and then just like goes to jail and everything. I just loved that whole like character arc, and then his like whole narrative after that. It was just kind of hilarious, and I loved that Pam and him joined Michael's company.
Yeah. Michael Scott Paper Company. I loved those episodes.
Yeah, those are so funny. Okay, so let's talk about the other characters that we haven't mentioned and like what we liked about them and like what our favorite parts about them were. So yeah, again, like I previously mentioned, I loved Phyllis just throughout. She was just like just sitting there minding her own business. But then when it was like the party planning committee, she would just be like giving like the side looks. And then when she finally saw Angela and Dwight having sex in the office, she just like took over the party planning committee. I love how did nothing else but take over the party planning committee. And then they just had like fights, and then they had like the 2 different parties and all that. I just loved Phyllis throughout. I don't know, I just loved her.
I know. I love that she was like the casting director, and then she just casted herself in the show. But from Phyllis, like, yeah, Phyllis was great. I love Stanley. Like, he's just chilling the entire time.
Loved Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin, so funny. The chili, everything about him is just iconic.
Oh my God, yes. Oh, and like the Olympics, that was also so funny when Phyllis was doing that. Yeah. I quite enjoyed Erin.
Oh yeah, Erin, I loved her character. I love like the actress who plays her. She's so good at like, I don't know, her acting is just so good, and she was such a like a lovable and enjoyable character.
What were your thoughts on Gabe?
Gabe was, I don't even remember who Gabe was.
Dated Aaron.
Oh yeah, he was like the tall guy from Saber, right? Yeah, I didn't really care for him. He was just there. He was kind of annoying, but Aaron obviously deserved 10 times better.
We can't talk about characters and not talk about Toby.
Toby.
Honestly, like Toby, I honestly think Toby was just so funny because of Michael Scott. If Michael Scott wasn't there, Toby would have just been like a normal whatever character. But just the face every time Michael sees Toby is just like, I just find it so funny because I do that sometimes. And I just like loved that. It was so funny. It was just like whenever he sees Toby, like, no, 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 no. I loved that so much about that.
Part was when you put the salad in Toby's desk and then he did a drug test on him.
Now for Friends, I particularly like I say my favorite like character was like Chandler or whatever, but honestly just like Phoebe was just hilarious. Like I just loved Phoebe. Like in the episode where they know that they know that they know it, like all that is happening because Rachel found out that Monica and Chandler are dating, and then Joey was like, "Oh, whatever." And then they were like, "Oh, they know that we know." And then Monica and Chandler found out that they know that they know that they know. So I just loved that whole interaction between Phoebe and Chandler, and just like Phoebe in general was just like, I loved her quirks, and like I just loved it. It was just funny. Obviously, like Joey's just like lovable in general. But yeah.
Yeah, I liked Phoebe a lot. Like her character presence was just like really enjoyable. Like she wasn't like super cringy. She wasn't super problematic. I liked her for the most part, like her and Chandler. I don't even remember any of the other characters. I remember like Gunther, whatever his name was, the guy that owned the like Central Park. I remember the monkey. I don't remember what its name was. What is it, like Marcus?
No, it was it Marcus?
Marcus?
It was Marcel.
Marcel. Yeah, that's one of Marcella's like the only character that I genuinely remember aside from the main five characters.
Wait, we can't talk about Phoebe and not talk about that iconic one. He's like, "Oh, my eyes, my eyes." That is my favorite scene of the entire show. I whenever like I'm like I want to watch Friends, I open to that episode and like the one where they all find out. So like they're in like Ross's apartment, and then Phoebe sees Monica and Chandler doing it, and then it's just so funny. And then Rachel's just like, "Oh, I know they're together. You know they're together, but Ross doesn't know." And then Ross comes in and they're all like jumping together. I found that so funny. I love that episode so much.
Yeah, the only thing I remember from Friends is like in terms of quotes is like the whole scene where they find out, and then just the pivot episode, and that's literally all I remember.
That was a good like episode, and then he brought it back, and then the girl, he's like, "Oh, can I have my money back?" And he's like, "I can give you." She's like, "I can give you store credit for a total of $4." Yeah, I just
Honestly, like as much as I kind of like hate on the show and I think I just don't like it, every time I see one of like Jennifer Aniston or whatever they post on Instagram like with other people in the cast, I just get like excited and it just makes me happy to look at.
I don't understand why you like hate on Friends, because honestly, like you can't compare The Office and the Friends, because I've watched The Office too. Like I understand where you're coming from, where it's like really good and humor, but like at the end of the day, you just can't compare the two, because just the Friends and The Office just are its own genre and like genre. But like I don't know, just Friends is just like it's like a feel good show, like no matter what time. Some of these like Office episodes, like I think 5, 6 season, like or the fifth, sixth season, I think it gets very slow. So it's not like bam, 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 bam jokes. It's just you're more interested in the storyline, which I was 100% invested in. Like I loved the storyline Friends had, or not Friends, The Office had, and that I think The Office gets you hooked onto the actual storyline, whereas Friends, you're just interested in the characters and their journey of it and everything, and it's more like situational comedy and everything.
No, that makes sense. Like I get it. Like they're totally different. You can't really compare it. But like even like not even comparing them, I don't know. I just couldn't vibe with Friends. It was kind of that show where I had it on in the background and I would be like on my phone or something. I don't know. I just couldn't get into it. I just didn't find it funny.
So very upset. So obviously, like, we both watched it. Like, what's your verdict? Like, obviously, we kind of got to know that you're not that much of a fan, but let's just kind of do it for the conclusion. What do you prefer, like Friends or The Office?
Oh, I prefer The Office without a doubt, hands down. It's like it's in my top 4 favorite shows, I would say. The first being Parks and Rec. Oh my God, that's the best show to ever exist, and no one can change my mind. The second is probably like Modern Family. The third is The Office, and then my 4th favorite show is Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So now that's kind of the comedy that I like.
Considering these are the only 2 like proper sitcoms I've watched, I would say they're in my top 2. Okay, I'm comparing the 2, and honestly, I feel like I can't compare the 2. But if I was to be a little biased, I think I would be a little bit like, it would be like 51 to 49. I would be 51 closer to Friends, just because I just feel like the characters outside of just the whole show, like Courtney Cox, I just like love her humor. Like on Instagram, she's so funny. I just love everything she posts, and she's just like cool, and like I don't know, I just love that whole like group. Whenever like if they ever come together, their whole like chemistry and everything, I think it's just like immaculate, and I'm waiting for that reunion episode or whatever. That's like, I feel like that's the 1% reason more I like Friends than I like The Office. But yeah, other than that, I like them both.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like I was saying, like when Jennifer Aniston and Courtney Cox, when they post like a picture with other cast members, it's just like, it makes you like smile. Like even though I don't like the show, it just makes me smile because I don't know why, but I think like I agree. Like the Friends characters are more, I like them a little better outside of the show. Because like for The Office, the only people that are like kind of active are like John Krasinski, because he has like the Good News thing, and then he's like in movies, and then Pam and Angela, they have like the podcast. But yeah, I'm not as invested in their lives.
I don't know. I just like the whole like vibe of Friends because they were like there for 10 years and they're kind of still friends. Like I saw interviews of Courtney Cox saying like her, Jennifer, and Lisa Kudrow, like they all have like lunch pretty much like every day before like the lockdown. They used to eat lunch every day and hang out. And I just find that like just so wholesome, you know? Like they're still friends, and I just love that about that. Okay, I think we mostly covered a lot of everything. We might have just like gone everywhere, but I think it was a good like summaries of the shows and everything. And yeah, it was a good time. We're not even like saying which one is better, which one is not. This is just straight up our opinions. They're both very good in their own ways and everything. So yeah, that was it for this episode, not show. That was this for this episode, and yeah, see you guys next time.
Do 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 do.